All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Washington Commanders in today's video because Brandon Aiyuk just officially requested a trade from the San Francisco 49ers. But when I look at the Washington Commanders as a whole, you got a rookie in Jaden Daniels. And I just heard a comparison actually on the herd. He compared him to Lamar Jackson, but kind of like a better thrower than Lamar. Jaden Daniels is going to be very successful. He's going to be very successful in the NFL. And when I look at the wide receiver room and just the weapons in general, new additions, Zach Ertz, Austin Eckler, you still got Scary Terry, you still got Jahan Dotson, you drafted Luke McCaffrey, you made a couple of tweaks on the offensive line. He's got weapons. You know, Adam Peterson did a very good job bringing in weapons, and Cliff Kingsbury is going to take advantage of that. And also Jaden Daniels is going to run the football a bunch. You know, my big concern that we talk about on this channel all the time is just health. Jaden Daniels taking hits, getting beaten down, whether that's with his legs or it's the offensive line collapsing. But they have an opportunity to do something. And so, like, you know, you've been compared to the Houston Texans all offseason. But what Houston did last year was they went 10-7, they won a playoff game, and then they lost, right? So Baltimore. But then this offseason, they traded for Stephon Diggs. So Brandon Aiyuk just requested a trade. And we know Brandon Aiyuk and Jaden Daniels from back at ASU, like, we know these dudes have a connection. And like, it just feels like if Brandon Aiyuk's actually going to get traded at any point this season, he's probably going to Washington or he's probably going to Pittsburgh. And it's probably just going to be an arms race for whoever gives up the most. All right. So welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're talking about the Commanders, mainly based around Brandon Aiyuk, but obviously we're going to correlate it all to the Commanders offense and team in general. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content, along with a couple of Commanders videos every single week. It is officially training camp time. We got rookies reporting all across the league today. The Ravens were a couple of days ago, and Washington, man, you know, you got a preseason game just a couple of weeks away, and before you know it, we're going to see Jaden Daniels in the regular season. So if we try and get this video to 200 likes, I would really appreciate it. Here's the source. This is from Mike Garafolo. Source: 49ers All-Pro Brandon Aiyuk has officially requested a trade after an offseason of unsuccessful attempts to reach an extension. Despite a recent meeting, the Niners haven't been willing to engage in negotiations since May, so Aiyuk has respectfully asked out. And then we heard this. Mike's with the NFL Network. He's entering the final year of his rookie contract, so he's earning $14.1 million for this upcoming season. Negotiations with the team appear to have stalled, with Mark reporting the 49ers haven't been willing to engage in negotiations since May. So we just touched on that. My point is this, you know, I want reliability for my rookie quarterback, all right? And outside of the offensive line, or I don't even mean to say that, outside of a couple of pieces, like your two new additions, you know, at the center spot, Terry McLaurin, Zach Ertz, I have concerns. We talked about this in our last Commanders video. Just imagine, God forbid, Terry goes down with an injury for a month. Well, now, you know, it just complicates it for Jaden, right? And I used the Stephon Diggs comparison because I think, you know, CJ Stroud, second pick last year's draft, they did a phenomenal job. And, you know, it's kind of a similar team where you had dudes like Nico Collins, you drafted Tank Dell. So you got your Scary Terry, you got a Jahan, you got your Luke, but they had instant success. So they went out there and they got a solidified star wide receiver in Stephon Diggs. My point is, I fully believe Jaden Daniels will be successful. Now, can Washington go 10-7 this upcoming season? While that's a little unlikely, if Jaden Daniels plays how CJ Stroud did, if Jaden Daniels played how he did when he won his Heisman last season, where he threw for over 40 touchdowns and less than 5 interceptions and ran for all that yards, you're going to see success very quickly. But if you give up a first-round pick to acquire Brandon Aiyuk, folks, that's going to happen. That trade's going to happen. And when I saw, like, we talked about this in our last Commanders video, just the point that not Adam Peters, the fact that the 49ers have come out and openly said, like, yeah, we want him to be a 49er, but they haven't had negotiations since May. Like, the writing is clearly on the wall. So if you can trade for Brandon Aiyuk, Jaden Daniels freaking loves, and he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Brandon Aiyuk, like 1,400-yard receiver. one of the most slept on receivers in the entire league. I'd consider him top 10 right here, right now. San Francisco, obviously, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brock Purdy, CMC, like they got a bunch of players to pay on both sides of the football. Trade for Brandon Aiyuk. Give up a first round pick, give him an extension, and get your quarterback a solidified wide receiver one. Now, I don't mean that as any disrespect to Terry or even Jahan, because Washington just has not had a reliable offense in so long. Sam Howell can whip that thing. Sam Howell can freaking throw. But that offensive line did not do him any credit. And if your offensive line's collapsing every single freaking play, it's hard for your receivers. It's hard for your quarterback. It's hard for anybody to get into any sort of rhythm. So I'm glad you guys picked up Tyler Biadasz. I'm glad you picked up Nick Allegretti, because you have to protect your quarterback. But just the opportunity to get Brandon Aiyuk, like seriously, a first round pick, that job would be, you'd get it immediately. And keep in mind, the 49ers just drafted a wide receiver. They're preparing for the departure of somebody. But Kyle Shanahan's on the hot seat, folks, or maybe not necessarily on the hot seat. They need to get the job done. Kyle Shanahan cannot get it done. And I do think, like, obviously they can't pay everybody. I do think a first round pick for Brandon Aiyuk will get it done. So I also believe that would free up the entire offense. There would be so much pressure on Brandon Aiyuk on opposing defenses that Scary would just have a career season. Jahan Dotson can finally see some consistency. He would be the wide receiver number 3. He would be open all the freaking time. And if he can get those drops down, he would have a really good season. And then it would also just help out Luke McCaffrey. There's a lot of question marks that I have as far as consistency and reliability for a rookie wide receiver in Luke McCaffrey in his rookie season. I think long-term it looks good. I think he's going to have a good rookie season, but he's a freaking rookie. Jahan Dotson suffered and struggled through various points of his NFL career here. This is a huge season. This is a make-or-break season for Jahan Dotson. So I expect him to fully break out here. He's a first-round wide receiver. If Jahan Dotson breaks out, like, folks, Brandon Aiyuk, Scary Terry, Jahan Dotson, Luke McCaffrey, that could be your wide receiver core. And just judging from the last couple of Commanders videos I've made, and anytime we talk about Brandon Aiyuk to Washington, it really does seem like every Commanders fan on the planet is down to give up a first-round pick for Brandon Aiyuk, or whatever it takes to get Brandon Aiyuk over. This does not help San Francisco's trade value at all that he's officially requested a trade. All right, so you might not even have to get rid of a first-round pick. But watch out for teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Watch out for teams like the Baltimore Ravens. I like to take an aggressive approach, and I like to get the guy that I want, and that would be Brandon Aiyuk in this situation. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Jaden Daniels, Brandon Aiyuk, folks, my mouth's watering, all right? So hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content along with a couple of Commanders videos every single week. But guys, obviously, most importantly, let me know your thoughts on Brandon Aiyuk to Washington. Are you okay? Are you comfortable giving up a first-round pick? Or would you rather wait and see how Jaden Daniels' rookie season goes? Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great week. We'll see you soon. Peace.